When you're tasked with creating a website for your business, you'll soon realize that there's a whole new set of vocab that you need to know. And can you fake it till you make it? Well, sure, but you don't have to. In this video, I'm breaking down the most common terms that you'll encounter when it comes to the visual aspect of your website. Hi, I'm Alli, and I help emerging entrepreneurs like you level up your business online with a brand and website that makes a connection with your dream clients. But if you don't understand all the lingo that's being thrown around by designers and developers and online marketers, building your website is going to be that much more difficult. And that's exactly why I created this video series. This video is part 3 out of 4 videos where I'm teaching you the vocab that you need to know to get started. So here we go. What's happening behind the scenes on the server side of your website is what's called the back end. It's the part of your website that you can't see or interact with. The front end, on the other hand, is what your viewer can see and interact with. It includes everything that your users experience directly. And what's the first thing that your dream client sees when they type in your domain? That's right, it's your home page or the first page of your website. It acts as an introduction and gives an overview of what your business is all about. So what are internal pages then? Well, an internal page is basically any page that isn't your home page. Your about, services, or contact pages, for example. You've probably noticed that the most important information or really compelling headlines appear at the top of the page before your user even needs to scroll. And this area is what's called above the fold. This term comes from when newspapers were sold in newsstands because they were folded in half for the display there. So the biggest, most compelling headlines needed to be at the top of the page, above the fold, so that people could read them when they were passing by and then be enticed to keep reading. One element that's always above the fold on your website is the header. The header is what appears on the top of every page of your site and usually includes your logo and your navigation. And you may have noticed that sometimes the header on a page will stick to the top as you scroll down, and that's what's called a sticky header. These are really useful for your user being able to navigate to another page on your site without having to scroll all the way back up to the top of the page to get back to your navigation. Inside of your header is where users expect your navigation to live. And your navigation is your menu of links that make it easy for someone to move or navigate from page to page of your site. Ideally, your main navigation is clear and brief so people can easily find what they're looking for. If you have a lot of content on your site though, you may want to implement what's called a drop-down menu. This is when related pages are nested underneath one of the links in your primary navigation. And when you hover over that primary link, the list of additional pages drops down below it. When you have a website that's a one-pager or just one page, there's no need to have a navigation that links to multiple pages. But you do want to guide your viewer to where you want them to go to find certain information on your website. Anchor links are great for this. So when they're clicked, an anchor link will jump you down to a specific point that's on the same page. So what happens to your navigation when you're viewing on a mobile device? Well, most viewers have come to recognize a symbol that's made up of 3 stacked short lines that resembles a hamburger and is called a Hamburger Icon. When you click on this icon, it toggles your menu open and closed. Right below the header on your website is what's often called your hero section or your hero banner, and it includes a large, compelling image as well as an attention-grabbing one-liner, which I like to call your big message, and sometimes your primary call to action as well. Your hero image then is that large, bold image that creates a specific atmosphere when someone lands on your website, because this is the first image that they see at the top of the page. What's referred to as the body is the large central area that makes up the majority of your website. It's where all of your content lives between your header and your footer. Sometimes along the side of the body, either on the left or the right side, you'll see what's called a sidebar. A sidebar is an area where you can show additional information such as links or recent posts, ads, or opt-in forms. The footer is located at the bottom of all of the pages of your website. It's a great place to show a bit more information like your contact information or social media links, or maybe repeating your primary call to action here. Sometimes you see opt-ins appear inside of a pop-up. A pop-up or a light box is an overlay box that appears on top of the content of a web page. And these can be set to appear based on what your user does. For example, when they go to exit the page, or when they scroll down to a specific point on the page, or if they've spent a specific amount of time on the page. You've probably seen an effect on some websites where the background is moving more slowly than the images or the graphics that are in front of it. This is called parallax scrolling, and it helps to create the illusion of depth on a page as well as add to the overall user experience. One of the most important things you can do to create a good user experience, though, is to make your website responsive, meaning that it responds or changes and adapts to look good across whatever device your viewer is viewing it on, whether that be a desktop, tablet, or a mobile device. Having a website that looks good is just one piece of the puzzle because it also has to function properly. And I'm sure that you can imagine there are so many more terms to know when it comes to the technical side of your website. And that's exactly what I'm going to be covering in the last video in this series. So make sure to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so that you're notified right when that video goes live. And in the meantime, if you need to go back and catch up on video 1 and 2, you can do that right here so that you know all of the most important terminology when it comes to running your business online. I'll see you next time.